If you're someone who's looking to make a change in your diet, the question is, where do we start? We know that we need to be healthier if we want to live longer, and the amount of media today that talks about what foods are good for us and what foods are bad for us, it's insane. It's enough to make your head explode. Tim Ferriss, in his book The 4-Hour Chef, approached the subject of learning by using the subject of cooking. So I'll try to do the same thing here. Through the subject of food and food changes, I will share my approach to qualifying information, eliminating noise, determining signal, opening up bandwidth, allowing myself to increase my capacity. Like with all things, if you're someone looking to make a change in your diet, the first thing that we need to do is assess where you are. If you are looking to make changes in your diet, it suggests that you're judging your diet as good or bad, too much, not enough, lacking or deficient in some way. So we have to examine what words we use to define our diets, or what words we use to define our target goal, and what would that look like? A lot of clients talk to me about having a healthy diet. And when I ask them questions, it always turns out that they have no idea what a healthy diet is, except for what they've heard on television or YouTube, and just that their current diet is not good.
It's disgusting.
The next question I ask them is, what are they optimizing for? Some people want to gain weight. Some people want to lose weight. Some people want to live longer. Some people just want to fix a part of their experience. For example, more energy, less brain fog, less bloat. In all of these cases, a different diet is needed, as well as determining if a person is actually dealing with a problem, or rather they're just trying to reduce the risk of a future problem. So if you're dealing with a problem, there is no equivalent to getting professional help. Do not try to do this on your own. Definitely don't try this without testing. If you're someone who doesn't have a problem, it always helps to get another perspective, a professional perspective. But which one? Well, let's go to the experts.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Keto, vegan, paleo, carnivore, vegetarian, omnivore, macrobiotic. Which diet is correct? And there are so many debates ranging at the moment. And the simple answer is that all of them have data to support that they are healthy. And at some point, there's also data to suggest that not all of these are good for all people. Do your homework. Check the background on the person that is advising the diet. One way that I use to cut through the noise with experts is if they recommend cutting out an entire food group, it's probably not going to be worth it listening to them. All the research suggests that diversity of your food is important. The second thing that I ask when dealing with the experts is how to say, how healthy are they? Do they look emaciated? Do they look like they need a cheeseburger or something? I'll pass, thanks. Likewise, just because someone looks good doesn't mean I'm going to listen to them. The biggest influence that I listen for in particular is, do they talk about the gut microbiome, the systems? Do they discuss the nuance of the topic? What do I mean by nuance? Simply put, too much of something can be poison. The presence of some things together could be poison, and yet we could also be deficient and need it. So one example is tuna can provide a lot of nutrients, but the mercury in tuna is something that takes the body a long time to detox, to process out. So if your pathways are blocked for some reason or unable to process that mercury, you may have just created a massive problem for yourself. Likewise, if you eat more tuna than the body is able to detox, you will have created a big problem for yourself. So if you're interested in this, take a look at the mercury cycles and ecosystems. It's one reason that I prefer to stay away from tuna in my regular diet.
And I don't want it!
So now that we are truly confused about who we should listen to, let's introduce the next point. When it comes to approaching changes with food, it's easy to become overwhelmed. And the real reason for this is because there's all that data out there and all the information, all the studies, all the research, all the experts telling you one thing or another. But the real overwhelm kicks in when we judge ourselves and we feel pressure. Taking responsibility for our own food is an incredibly big task. But where do you even begin? Where do you start? How do you do this? Who do you listen to? So I'm here to tell you I'm not here to tell you who to listen to, but rather to understand that in making a change to your food, it will be an iteration approach, iterative. Consider it a scale of good, better, best. My diet now is okay, but what could I do that's manageable that could make it a little bit better? Achieving this on a regular basis is healthier for you and can lead to longer lasting change than trying to change your entire diet all at once. And when people commit to a diet and it becomes their identity, it's incredibly painful, socially and emotionally, when they have to backpedal for the sake of their health. There are so many examples of vegan influencers who are ousted by the vegan community when they start eating animal products again due to health concerns from a poorly managed diet. In one case, I saw this one influencer's hair was falling out because of the amount of deficiencies in her diet. I know, right? One of the biggest things about diets and choosing a diet is about demonizing foods. And so many experts out there are talking about how eating these foods is terrible for you and the effect that it creates. It's actually a culture of anxiety in people. Naturally, the reaction to this is that there are many other experts who are saying, stop demonizing food. A little bit of this is fine, this bad stuff. My personal belief is that you need to be able to classify and categorize information. So these experts need to be able to say that this is not healthy. On the other hand, the other experts concerned with your well-being should be able to talk about how you judge your behaviors and how do you manage your emotions. So there's a concept called the meta-emotional judgment. The basic idea is, let's say, you feel an emotion in response to feeling an initial emotion that you have a judgment about. So it causes a secondary emotion, an emotion about an emotion, hence the name meta-emotion. Say, for example, I wake up late, and then I'm frustrated because I woke up late, and then I get angry at myself because I know that being frustrated is actually very bad for me, as being frustrated causes all kinds of stress, anxiety in my body. So this meta-emotional judgment is far worse for me than the initial frustration that I felt for waking up late. So you can call a food a toxic, poisonous food and still eat it. So you can be honest with yourself that it's probably not going to have a great effect on your body in the long run, but if you can manage your emotions, your judgments, then there shouldn't be a reason why you couldn't have that food as an exception, and not have that food, and be unhappy about it. Your mind is powerful, and learning to manage your mind, manage your emotions is super important. The stress we put on ourselves usually matters more than the diet whoopsies that we experience. So let's wrap this video up by giving you a few practical take-homes. Number one, don't judge yourself or your choices. Allow them to happen. It's okay, and it's okay to have standards. Approaching this change as an iteration is one way to help you judge yourself less. It's a way to see if your changes are too demanding or not. If at the end of the day, you're reminding yourself not to judge the 100 food choices that you made, perhaps you consider making fewer food choices so that you can find some success in less. Number two, definitely qualify your experts, research their background, and don't listen to those who tell you to eliminate an entire food group. Just because they sound smart or are experts in one area doesn't make them experts in all area. And it doesn't make an expert in your circumstances. Number three, make sure that you know what you're optimizing for. Remember that a healthy diet will have an internal and external result for you, such as feeling better, looking better, and your blood work being better. Don't guess, assess. So if you're interested in learning more about improving meta-emotional judgment, check out the Neuro Resiliency program, link down below. And this is the first in a series of videos on how to approach things to make sure that you are eliminating the noise and paying attention to signal, increasing your bandwidth, and leaning into your capacity. Click on the subscribe button and as well as the bell, as future videos will talk more about how to approach the FOMO world of, am I getting the right amounts of? How to eliminate the noise from daily cooking, and how to approach the everything's a chemical debate.
It's disgusting.